environment, systems, and people in order to grow and scale. So one of the things that I helped to develop working with Calvin is what we call the Franchise Co-Lab. And just a little background, with respect to the Marriage Franchise Initiative, when we developed it, there was three major advisors to the program. One was Williams Chicken, the reason being because they proved that you could operate a multi-million-dollar company no matter the zip code in which you operate, and they created a rainbow coalition of millionaires. The second one was Roland Parrish. Roland Parrish owned 28 McDonald's, and he also has been very successful in the Southern Dallas County, so he's been successful as an operator. And the third person I gotta have was Calvin Golden. This man right here actually helped create a company called Wingstop, first franchise offering. And not only did he create the first franchise offering, he actually sold the first 13 Wingstop franchises. So the thing that I'm trying to say with respect to this franchise collab, we're developing the right type of consultants and people to help you grow and scale that has credentials and awards on the wall. So with that, I wanted to bring up Calvin and kind of go over, what are the important things, because when you franchise, one of the things that a franchisor has to provide you is what we call this franchise disclosure document, required by law. This provides you with all the information, material information so that you can make an informed decision about your franchise. We've heard from Yolanda and Randy how you're training, what the fee structure is going to be, what type of support do they provide. Like Jonathan said, most of them, like what's your cost structure, what's your financial performance representation. To me, this is what differentiates an entrepreneur and franchise from others, because you have more transparency. What other business model would you going to get this much information in order to make a decision? So with that being said, you have to have this types of documents, right? Because I see a lot of law firms charge about $35,000 for this document. That's way too much. You should be able to get this for about $10,000 to $12,000 for someone that knows how to do it. And that's what we're going to do with respect to that. But one of the things that's important is that you have to have a lawyer to create this franchise disclosure document. But hell, a lawyer without having the right team in order to create it, you're not creating anything of value. So one of the things that Calvin did with Wingstop is he worked with the lawyers and things of that nature to help develop the program. A program that's been so successful that I think what you told me yesterday, that Wingstop's average units about AUV is about how much? $3 million. $3 million. Wingstop. 1998, this 2024 Wingstop. Calvin, can you explain to us what 1998 Wingstop looked like when you joined?
Good morning, everyone. As Carlos said, my name is Calvin Golden. In 1997, I had the privilege of working with some other gentlemen who had a concept that, quite frankly, they didn't know what to do with it. I came on board. My background had always been franchising. I've been a franchise director, franchise sales. However, I'd never been an operator. And when I had an opportunity to meet these guys, I was really impressed with the fact that humility took on a whole new meaning. This concept was in the back of a restaurant, 1,140 square feet, office from 4 to midnight, and didn't even have a computer. And I saw this as grassroots as you can get. So we took that concept, and in those days, the one store that we had was doing roughly $8,000 a week. And this is 1997. We got that franchise, at that point the FDD, franchise disclosure document, was called the UFOC. And it took about 6 months to draft the UFOC. Part of my job was to put everything in it that an operator would need to be successful. So working with the franchise lawyer, like Carlos said, we put together this first UFOC. And it was pretty painstaking, but we had to go through some things that could make it real simple to operate as a franchisor. One of the things that we did very early on is, how do you collect royalties? I've been with a company before that was allowing the franchisees to use the honor system, and that is, and we find out very quickly among franchisees there's not a lot of honor when it comes to paying. Okay, so we knew that wouldn't work. So we went to a cash withdrawal, automatic ACH type system very early on to help get the revenue started. But that brand was able to grow relatively quickly. I was so impressed with it. While selling the franchises, I actually got impressed enough to take franchise store number 5 for myself. So I was literally the franchisor in the day, and because we opened at 4 o'clock, I'd go like Superman, jump into my phone, change into my chicken suit, drive down 35 to the cliff, and I'd become a chicken guy from 4 to midnight. And that sounds exciting. It was a lot of fun for the first week. After the second week, reality sets in, and tired takes on a whole new meaning. Well, at that point, you're in a zone. And that zone I refer to as the operator zone. You start thinking differently. You start operating differently. You start looking at things from a practical standpoint, because now you're spending your money. And your money is real. And as we operated that brand, we learned a lot. And that brand just started to take off because there was some uniqueness to the brand. The brand opened back in those days, we stopped open at 4 o'clock from Monday through Thursday. Open at 4 o'clock. We had no lunch day part. And the reason I would sell that is that made it perfect for the stay-home mom that wanted to take her kids to school. Stay-home mom could do it. You could go have lunch with your spouse if you want to do it, and you could avoid burnout in the restaurant business back in those days. The reality is our principal just didn't get up till about 2 o'clock in the evening. So, that was the real story. But the bottom line is the brand just accelerated. And then a good store, my first store, we hit profitability at $10,000. And what was so good about $10,000? So $10,000 a week, that's not a whole lot of money. Well, it doesn't sound like it now, but back in those days, 25% of it went to the bottom line. So you can make money relatively quickly with one unit. And as I scale that to multiple units, you see how the math, it just adds up. But the brand took off. 2015, that little concept went public. Now it's private equity owned. We got the celebrities now. We got all the sex appeal that the big brands have. And they're rapidly approaching a $3 million AUV. Now $3 million, guys, is $3 million is $60,000 a week selling chicken wings. Take 20% of that and put it in your pocket. It doesn't take long to see where you could really generate some wealth. So I guess my story is, and as I close this, for those of you who are considering franchising as a business model, and for those of you who've been looking at doing a franchise for yourself, I just got one piece of advice to you: is do it. Do some due diligence and do it. I mean, it will work. It will work, but it's going to require work. So, like they were all saying here, it's not a turnkey operation to success. It's a turnkey operation to the system of success. But the difference in a turnkey and success is you. So I would say do it.
Yeah, and one of the things